3 sterile alien girls sold for pennies. I took them home and bred all 3 that same night. The auction block. The air on Viridian Outpost tasted like rust and desperation. Cale Dustin shouldered through the crowd of traders and scavengers, trying to ignore the auction stage ahead. He had cargo to move, repairs to fund, and exactly 40 credits to his name until the next haul came through. Lot 47. The auctioneer's voice crackled through ancient speakers. 3 Solvari females, aged 26, 23, and 18 standard years. Certified sterile. Documentation included. Suitable for domestic labor, station maintenance, whatever you need. Cale's steps slowed despite himself. 3 slender figures stood on the platform, their pale skin catching the harsh overhead lights. The eldest held herself rigid, chin high even as her hands trembled. The middle one glared at the crowd with barely contained fury. The youngest pressed close to her sisters, eyes wide with fear. Solvari bloodline's been dead for 2 centuries, someone near Cale muttered. Might as well buy furniture. Come on, folks, take all 3 for 40 credits. That's less than a tank of fuel. The auctioneer's grin was all teeth and greed. Cale's hand moved to his pocket before his brain caught up. He thought of his own sister, lost years ago to raiders. He thought of what it meant to be sold, to be declared worthless. 40 credits, he heard himself say. The auctioneer blinked. Sold. To the idiot with a conscience. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Cale ignored it, moving forward to claim his unexpected purchase. The 3 sisters descended the platform like ghosts, the eldest, Lissa, according to the documentation, studying him with wary silver eyes. I'm Cale, he said quietly. I won't hurt you. Lissa said nothing, but her hand found her younger sister's. Marin's glare softened fractionally. Little Nessa just stared. Come on, Cale said, suddenly exhausted. Let's get off this rock. The unexpected awakening. Cale's freighter, the Wandering Star, was small but clean. He showed the sisters to the crew quarters, his own quarters, really, and handed them ration packs that were actually fresh. You can sleep here, he said, gesturing to the bed. I'll take the cockpit. Lissa's eyes narrowed. What do you want from us? Nothing. Just rest. We'll figure out the details tomorrow. He left before they could question further, settling into the pilot's chair with a thin blanket. Sleep came easier than expected, exhaustion pulling him under within minutes. He woke to soft crying. Cale found Lissa in the corridor, one hand pressed to her abdomen, her face pale with confusion. Something's wrong, she whispered. Are you hurt? He reached for the medical scanner, running it over her. The device hummed, then beeped urgently. The readout made no sense. Hormone levels spiking. Uterine activity. Early conception markers at 0.3%. That's impossible, Lissa breathed, staring at the screen. We're sterile. Every Solvari is. It's been proven for. Scan me too. Marin appeared in the doorway, Nessa close behind. All 3 readings came back identical. Something dormant in their biology had awakened, triggered by proximity to Cale's unique genetic signature. Marin laughed suddenly, a sound caught between disbelief and joy. You bought us for 40 credits, and you've given us back what we thought was lost forever. Nessa moved closer to Cale, her small hand finding his. Is this real? I don't understand it, Cale admitted. But yes, it's real. Lissa's composure finally cracked. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she reached for him, her touch tentative. Our entire species mourned this loss. And you, a stranger who showed us kindness, you brought it back. When she kissed him, soft and desperate and grateful, Cale felt the weight of what 40 credits had truly purchased. Not ownership, but connection. Not possession, but possibility. The other sisters drew closer, and in the dim light of the corridor, something extraordinary began. Bonds deepening. 3 weeks into their journey, the changes became undeniable. The sisters moved with a new lightness, their skin taking on a subtle luminescence that Solvari medical texts called the flowering. It happened only in pregnancy, something no living Solvari had witnessed in generations. Marin cornered Kale in the cargo bay while he was checking inventory. "You keep avoiding us," she said, direct as always. "I'm giving you space. This is a lot to process." "We've processed it." She stepped closer, fierce and beautiful. "You think we don't know what you did? You could have walked past that auction. You could have kept your 40 credits. Instead, you gave us everything." Her kiss was nothing like Lissa's tentative gratitude. It was fire and demand, and when she pulled back, her eyes blazed. "Stop treating us like we're fragile." Nessa found him later in the navigation room, curled up in the co-pilot seat. At 18, she was technically an adult by Solvari standards, but she still seemed impossibly young to Kale. "Can I stay with you?" she asked softly. He made room, and she nestled against his side, her head on his shoulder. "I used to dream about this," she whispered. "Having a family. Children. I thought it was just fantasy. It's real now. Because of you." She tilted her face up, and her kiss was sweet, wondering, full of discovery. That night, Lissa came to his quarters. The eldest sister had maintained the most distance, processing everything internally. Now she stood in his doorway, luminous and uncertain. "I'm afraid," she admitted. "What if something goes wrong? What if we lose this?" Kale drew her close. "Then we face it together." She melted into him, and in the darkness of space, 3 impossible lives continued growing while their mothers learned what it meant to be cherished. The galaxy's eyes. The message came through on every channel simultaneously, a Solvari Elder Council transmission, broadcasted across known space. "Kale Dustin of the vessel Wandering Star, we know what you carry. We know what you've awakened. The Solvari people have a right to survival." Within hours, his ship was tracked. Corporate scouts arrived first, offering billions for genetic samples. Then came the scientists, the desperate refugees, the politicians seeing opportunity. At a refueling station on Praxis Minor, a delegation of Solvari elders boarded his ship uninvited. Lissa stood between them and Kale, her sisters flanking her. "You would hoard salvation," the lead elder demanded. "Our species dies while you play house with 3 females." "We're not playing anything," Marin snapped. "And we're not your breeding stock. You have a duty." "We have a choice," Lissa interrupted, her hand protective over the subtle curve of her belly. "Something our people denied us our entire lives. We were sold as sterile property. This man treated us as people." Nessa moved closer to Kale. "His ours. We're his. That's all that matters." The elder's face twisted. "You condemn millions for selfish love." "You condemned us first," Lissa said quietly. "When you let corporations poison our world. When you declared us worthless. When you allowed auctions like the one that sold us for pocket change." Kale stepped forward. "I'll donate genetic samples for research. Willingly. But these 3 women make their own choices about their bodies and their futures. Non-negotiable." The standoff lasted tense seconds before the elders retreated, promising this wasn't over. As the ship lifted off, Marin took Kale's hand. "You stood up for us. Always will." Lissa began plotting coordinates to a frontier world she'd heard of, lawless, remote, perfect for disappearing. "Time to build our own life," she said. The sisters gathered close, and Kale realized he'd do anything to protect this fragile, impossible family. New horizons. 6 months later, the house Kale built on Theta Verdant overlooked purple valleys and twin moons. The planet was so far off trade routes that even corporate scouts gave up searching. Lissa emerged onto the porch at sunset, her pregnancy now unmistakable and radiant. She'd blossomed into motherhood with quiet grace, her earlier wariness replaced by contented peace. "Dinner's almost ready," she called. Inside, Marin stirred a pot while arguing playfully with the cooking interface, her own rounded belly bumping the counter. She'd taken to domestic life with surprising enthusiasm, though she still maintained her fierce edge. Nessa sat curled in Kale's lap, reading aloud from a children's book they'd downloaded. Her pregnancy made her glow like starlight, and she'd become the emotional heart of their unusual family. "Listen to this," she said, showing him an illustration. "When our babies are born, we can read to them together." Kale kissed her temple. Every night. After dinner, they gathered on the large bed they all shared now, limbs tangled comfortably. Lissa rested her head on Kale's chest while Marin claimed his left side and Nessa his right. "Sometimes I still can't believe this is real," Lissa murmured. "That we went from being sold as worthless to this." 40 credits, Marin laughed softly. "Best investment in galactic history." "You didn't invest," Nessa reminded him. "You rescued us." "You rescued me too," Kale said truthfully. "I was just drifting before you three." Outside, the moons rose higher, painting everything in silver light. 3 Solvari women, once declared the end of their bloodline, now carried the future within them. And the human who'd bought them for pocket change held them close, knowing he possessed something no amount of credits could ever purchase. In the morning, there would be preparations to make, lives to plan, children to welcome. But tonight, there was only warmth, love, and the quiet miracle of 4 hearts beating as one, soon to become 7. The galaxy could keep its fortunes and its demands. Here, on the edge of everything, they'd found something infinitely more valuable: home. The end.